Hey everyone, welcome back to Chill Phil Gaming. It's the more chill of the video game channels out there, and I hope that you are here and you're ready to kind of wind down and relax a little bit. I've got my slippers on, I've got a candle lit, my dog is napping in the background. It's raining today. The last video it was raining, it's raining again. And so the rain maybe helps keep it chill, kind of relax. So we're doing that. And yeah, let me know if you like these videos so far. I'm still pretty new. Leave a comment in the comment section, like and subscribe, hit that bell, and let's go. We're gonna keep it chill right into Universe Sandbox. Here we go. We've been doing some tutorials. And let's just see where we're at here. We did the third tutorial and I'm gonna skip ahead. All right, part of the third tutorial here is playing around with Saturn's rings, and it says, what would happen if we put Neptune in the orbit around Saturn? Well, we're gonna find out, I'm guessing. So we're gonna hit Tools, Add, okay, hit Planets. And it gives us the option. We're going to click Neptune, and it doesn't put Neptune in until we decide to put it in. But I want to take a moment here and check out Saturn. Just look at, let's zoom in. So is that Saturn here? Saturn, this is what the Saturn rings look like. They're just a bunch of stuff, right? It's not one big or just big solid rings. It's a bunch of little stuff put together. Now when we zoom out, watch what happens when we zoom out. It looks like the Saturn we've seen in pictures. In fact, one time I was in Austin, Texas, I think, and I was walking down a sidewalk and a guy had this microscope pointed up into the sky. I think he was trying to make some money. I think he was like, give me a tip for $5. I don't remember. I don't think I did, but anyway, I should have. Because how often do you get this opportunity? He had this pointed up into the sky and I was like, where are you pointing that? He's like, at Saturn, you want to see? I was like, well, yeah, I want to see. And I looked in and it looked like clip art, but this black and white, this is what it looked like on the screen here, but imagine it black and white, just real tiny, but very distinct. And those rings look very solid to me, very solid. And they look solid even here a little bit, but let's zoom in and remind ourselves what they really are is made up of a bunch of particles, a bunch of dust and ice and rock just twirling around. And I think this is always very interesting because we look at this and we see them individually. You can actually see a lot of space between each and every one of them. But when we zoom out, it's like this is how our brain can process it and how our eyes can process it. Everything, you don't see the space in between, right? It looks like one big giant ring. And I just think that's just super cool. It just reminds me of my life. It reminds me of the different things I'm going through. Is a lot of little things here and there that I have going on around me, and it feels like a lot. And sometimes when it feels like a lot is because I'm seeing everything all at once. And sometimes when we get overwhelmed by all the things happening in our life, it's because we're focusing on so many things. And sometimes what we need to do, if you're like me, is zoom out. Zoom out and see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is all these things have their place. Everything is in place and they all kind of look solid. And in general, they're doing okay. Just doing what they're doing, going around in circles. But also what I've found is when life is so predictable, where everything seems to be in the right place, that I have it all together. That's the attitude that I get, is that I have it all together. And sometimes, like we're gonna do here, is put Neptune near Saturn. And what do you think is gonna happen? Let's try it. And here we go. As we've introduced Neptune, another element, into what was such stable conditions for a ring, what you're gonna find is as Neptune gets a little closer, that things start to move differently. Things start to mess with the order. It becomes a little more chaotic and disordered. Things lose its predictability, and that can be, in our life, pretty uncomfortable. As you can see here, the ring is changing. The ring is changing here, finally, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to stay on this for a little bit here. So we've closed the guide, and we're going to look at how it's changing. As you can see here, there's some things happening here. It's not a perfect circle anymore. Things are becoming warped and changed. It almost looks like an eye. And now some things have slowed down on the outer edge here. Some things have sped up in the middle. And we're getting some cool shapes here. And if you're like me, that can be a little uncomfortable. If we have things orbiting as we want them to orbit, where they want them to be, and then something comes in and disrupts that, that can be frustrating. And what I call that is perfectionism. I like to have things a certain way, and if something doesn't turn out the certain way, if something comes in and disrupts that and moves things around, that can be really frustrating to me. But the reality is, when I have things perfect, then I become self-absorbed, right? Because I'm more concerned with how things look and how things are in order. And that's not reality. The reality is things come in our orbit and change our rings, change the patterns in our lives. That's reality. And so if we can accept that, then we become less frustrated people in general. And we can accept life as it is, which is unpredictable, which is disordered, which is just uncomfortable. And it breaks me out of my self-absorbedness. It breaks me out of my narcissism and my selfishness to go, oh, I'm affected by this person over here floating near me. That person affects how this works out, this part of me works out, or this thing that I'm trying to keep up in the air in my orbit. And that's just part of life. That's life. And when we can accept that, then we can let ourselves look not perfect. Because when we let ourselves look not perfect, then our imperfections become revealed. Can you relate to someone who's perfect? No, I can't. But when I relate to someone, it's because they've allowed their imperfections to be revealed. And I go, oh, I understand that because I've been there. I've done that. And I've struggled with that. And then that's the kind of person that I want to become. And they're not perfect. The kind of people I want to become are the kind of people who aren't perfect. And when I realize that, then I could stop trying to be so perfect. Because no one's going to want to become that. No one actually wants to become the perfect person. So allowing our orbits to change due to the relation of others, due to the vicinity, being close to other people is good, is what is supposed to happen. As we just watch these orbits kind of change, become affected by this neighboring Neptune, which is kind of a beautiful image. And as you can see, maybe pick out a particle. Try to stick with it like this one. Maybe it'll get pulled in. And it'll change speed. And sometimes it'll get hidden behind a planet, and maybe you need to kind of guess where it pops out. And maybe it slows down. And when we find that particle and we stick with it and we realize that life sometimes comes at us fast. See, sometimes we're cruising right along and sometimes we get a little destroyed. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that will happen, or it feels that way sometimes. And sometimes it just slows down. We find ourselves on the outer ring. And it feels pretty good for a while, but then it gets a little lonely, like this guy right here. Then he needs to come back in and rejoin the group. But this is reality. Sometimes we get pummeled with how things change. You know, things aren't perfect. Life isn't perfect. It's not all easy. But that's reality. And what we want is reality, not some made-up fantasy in our head of perfect rings. And so when we allow people in our lives, we will get some feathers ruffled. We will get our hair messed up. We will get some bumps and bruises. And what if that wasn't bad? Maybe that's how we're supposed to live. Not in a way that we are allowing ourselves to get absolutely destroyed and abused. That's never the case. But if we allow ourselves to kind of rub shoulders with someone and we stay in that relationship with them and we work things out in a civilized manner, that's healthy. That's good. That's good. So focus on these rings. These rings are you and me. These rings are the things we have around us. The ebbs and flows of life, the reality that nothing is perfect, and that we are all work in progress, and that we do affect one another. And that's a beautiful thing. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out with me and hanging out with my dog Hash Brown back there. We like to keep it chill here. We're learning things about ourselves and we're pulling out truths from a video game. And we keep doing that. So if you want to keep doing that, just click like, click subscribe, leave a comment. What do you want to see in the future? That'll help me as I figure out where this channel goes. And until next time, keep it chill. We'll see you later. Bye.